Nice to meet you.
Nice meeting you too.
All right, welcome everyone to the Richard Carrier, I should say Dr. Richard Carrier, PhD after party. So far in here we have my good friend Duke Bonanza, another very good friend of mine who lives actually quite near me, Vikram Tar, who's with us, and also Wes is with us, and it says co-host Wes.
Yeah, so, I don't know why, but
what's that all about? What's that all about?
I don't know.
Oh, you didn't type that in. Okay.
I didn't. It's the last time I was on air. I'm trying to start a podcast too, and
I got you.
I think I must have just left it how it was.
Yeah.
Well, if you need any,
sorry about that.
That's quite all right. Oh, and here comes another guy who's probably going to hit you up to be on his show too, Richard. So, but he's a very good friend of mine, Chris Mallard, also known as the Daily Atheist. Joined us as well.
Nice to meet you, Chris.
Nice to meet you, Richard. How you doing?
I'm doing well.
Hi, Wes. Vikram.
Hey, Chris.
Duke.
Wes is the self-appointed co-host of my show today, actually.
Yeah.
There you go.
I assure you it was on accident. I just...
That's okay, man. I can always use a good co-host. So
yeah.
There you go.
I get a little out of control sometimes, so I need someone to rein me in.
Wait a minute. Wait. When have you ever gotten out of control?
That's true. I usually leave that to you. So
yeah, that's my job.
That's right.
I'm the one that says things like, I'm not even going to say anything right now because I don't have anything off the top of my head. But I'll think of something; it'll come up.
Oh, come on. You wanted to say titties because that's what you always say.
I did in the chat. I asked Dr. Carrier what his position on the historicity of titties was.
Oh, is that what that was? It was titties with a D. I was thinking, is that some foreign word? I don't know.
Yeah. That's kind of what Duke's known for. Whenever I close the show, I'll do my closing statement, and he always throws in that titties right at the end.
One could do a really interesting half-an-hour PowerPoint presentation on the historicity of titties.
You probably could, yeah.
I'd watch it.
That would be an interesting comedy routine because it would be tons of what's your historical evidence? There we go.
I wonder what they used. If you think about it, in the Egyptian times, I wonder what they used for a bra, or even if they did. I guess they really didn't.
No, they really didn't. I don't think that was a thing. Well, in all Mediterranean cultures, that wasn't a thing, except for athletics. We have paintings of women doing sports, and they have the equivalent of a bikini, but it's giving them support for. Basically what they're doing, but
I think we're onto something, boys.
Yeah. I mean, normally sports like athletics would be performed nude, right? So even women's races you'd be running nude. But if you're in training, then we have examples of women playing ball, but they're basically wearing bikinis, but it's for to have as little on as possible, but also have support for the breasts, which actually move around and can be annoying.
Of course,
during athletic activity.
Yes.
I like the way this conversation's going. Bet you didn't expect that one, huh?
It's a subject worthy of
historical
study.
Fact, yeah.
It is. That's right.
It reminds me of Pauly Columbus, the Polyamory Society in Columbus, asked me to do a talk on polyamory in ancient Rome, and I was like, "Well, I don't think that was a thing, but that's what my PhD is for. I'll tell you, I'll research it, and then I'll present you my findings." And so I researched it. I did a really interesting deep dive into ancient Roman sexuality and stuff. And the results I have on my blog, the article is there. But I had the stack of books that I'd bought to research, and it's all about Roman sexuality. And there's tons of nudity and sex and stuff being depicted artistically through paintings and sculpture and metalwork and so on. And I brought them to the talk. I said, if anybody wants to look at them, here they are. You can go flipping through. But it is interesting how much we can learn about the ancient world through what they're willing to depict in art that survives. So,
Clayboy.
Yeah.
Yes, it's an ancient Sumerian text.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I've heard about the Vesuvius. They've been looking up Vesuvius, and one of me and Atheism was talking about it on my Daily Atheist Morning Show. Was that they had graffiti, and a lot of it was sexual in nature, all over Vesuvius. It was everywhere. They really liked dicks. Dicks are the thing. Yeah, apparently.
A lot of sexual insults.
But who doesn't?
A lot of praising the best prostitute in town, and this is legit. That's actually
really.
true.
I've heard about that in Greek pottery, where the Greek pottery masters would, on their pot, they would say, like, this other pottery creator really sucks.
Yeah.
They would.
Well, we have things like we've recovered the brothel at Vesuvius or at Pompeii. A lot of the paintings we have, there's the baths, but there was this inn that had a little niche for the inn's prostitute. Like she had her own little room that's off the side. And it has a painting there, which is depicting anal sex. And in Latin, written underneath it is "put it in slowly."
Good advice. I mean, good advice lasts for generations. Eons.
So, these are the things. There's a lot of weird stuff. The Vatican hides a lot of it, though. A lot of artifacts they found in Pompeii. That's really out there sexual imagery. You normally can't. Yeah, it's a squeaking.
So, sorry guys, I'll mute it.
It's a good thing that like the Westboro Baptist Church and characters like that haven't gotten a hold of that stuff. They'd be all like, "That's why they got destroyed by the volcano."
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised if that's been argued somewhere.
yeah, exactly. So Vikram,
hello.
You've got yourself muted. Did you have anything you wanted to ask Dr. Carrier?
Yeah, no, I muted myself because I'm doing studying stuff as well while I'm listening in, and I didn't want to interrupt you all. Yeah. I think earlier I mentioned it in the comments that I wanted to thank Richard Carrier for exposing Sargon of Akkad, but was my comment.
Yes.
Oh, right. Yeah. Oh, that was uncomfortable though. Boy, that was quite a thing.
I had like people still take him seriously.
Yeah, yeah, they do. I mean, I had a question that goes along the lines of that, which would be that did you notice any change in the skeptic community on like the speakers when it comes to the type of content they would talk about? Like it went from atheism to just like going more towards where Sargon of Akkad is now.
No, I don't know. I couldn't comment on that. I'm kind of out of the loop now. I don't really. I mean, the conference scene has kind of died out. Really, like it's not that big. I mean, there's the Faithless Forum is like almost the only like cool conference left. I mean, right? And that's podcast oriented, right? So that's mostly YouTubers and podcasters.
Sure. But you're on YouTube. I should talk to them when I'm down there and see if they.
Yeah, I don't have a channel though. I'm not a. I mean, I don't maintain a channel. Like what I do is I'll do talks for people. They'll video me, and then my agreement is if you want to put that online, you can. And so that YouTube has accumulated a ton of videos of me, but I don't have any involvement in creating those videos. It's all the people who hired me to come speak for them or whatever.
You ever thought about starting your own channel?
Oh, learning curve, work, no. Too much work for too little pay. Like I work hard enough for the money that I make as it is. So yeah. I'm old school. I'm still a blogger. That's what I get paid to do more than anything. And I'm a blogger who's known for writing long blog posts. Like people like really complain about that. I was like, well, then you're not my audience.
Yeah, that's what I would tell them.
Right. So no, that makes me very unusual. I'm off trend is what I'm saying. But I love doing it. I'm more comfortable doing it, and I'm good at it. So that's what I do. I don't think I would be as good at doing YouTube stuff.
Oh, well, I don't know. I would argue that.
I'm not ruling it out. I'm a big advocate of life changes. Like my life has changed a lot every year of my life. So especially the last 5 or 6 years. So I'm very open to things changing in the future. But right now, that's where I am.
What's this? What you debate atheists? Hang on,
Me?
Let's pull that one up.
I have
that is most savage when he debates atheists.
I am the most savage when I debate
atheists? That's, I guess. At least Santi here seems to think so.
I don't know what that's based on, but no. The funny thing is like I'm actually, if anybody's watched me do debates, like I'm very professional and calm and don't go to ad hominem or any of that stuff. And most people, like, I will be much more vicious in an article on a blog, and then people think, oh, he's super mean. It's like, but no, when we're doing a debate, like I have decorum. Like I think that's important to like really focus on the issues and stuff. And if you've seen any of my debates, you know that's how I engage, even when like people are really fucking with me on stage, right? So, but yeah, I've debated atheists. I did Zeba Crook, who's an atheist professor of New Testament studies. We did the Historicity of Jesus. Still probably the best debate I've done on the Historicity of Jesus. I
can't believe I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, and the Sargon of Akkad debate, which I can't really call a debate. That was just him shouting at me more than anything.
It was
I've done some others. I can't. Oh, I did. The name is escaping me, but many years ago, I did a debate on fundamental ethical theory. So. I'm an advocate of goal theory, like what is the fundamental basis of moral reasoning. I'm goal theory. He was desire utilitarian. He was defending Fife's desire utilitarianism. And we had a really, really productive, interesting debate. It's two atheists who agree on most things, but we're just debating on this one issue. That was a great debate. I loved it because none of us were trying to like fuck with the other one. Like we weren't engaging in rhetoric. We both really wanted to like honestly advocate for our positions and stuff. So that was a nice debate. I like that, but it's on an obscure subject, so people don't usually watch those debates or are interested.
Oh, I see. Someone else got some noisy stuff going on in the back.
Yeah, I hear children.
Yeah,
that would be my niece. Sorry, guys.
All right, dude.
You know, I have a Richard Carrier story.
Oh,
I do. Yeah, I actually have a Richard Carrier story. So that's one of the reasons. Like, I saw he was going to be on your show. I was like, here we go.
I get to tell my story.
You know, I started my channel about a year ago. About 4 months ago, I started doing the Daily Atheist Morning Show, and that's kind of been going really good. And I've been having a lot of success with that. And one of my commenters one day sent me a message through Facebook and asked me what I thought of Jesus and your beliefs, and if I'd heard of you. And I'm like, well, I've heard of him, but I don't really know what his thing is. So I actually started watching your videos online, your lectures about the historicity of Jesus, and I'm actually a believer now, or a non-believer of the non-belief of the existence. Yeah. So now whenever somebody asks me about what I believe of Jesus, I point them to your stuff.
Yeah. Well, that's good.
Yeah. So cool. Now I say that not having really, you know, to be honest, seen any rebuttal to your stuff.
Right.
So
there are some people.
You can find them. Actually, I have an article that I keep updated. I can't remember the exact title, but it's on my blog. It's responses on historicity. But I have a list. And of course, the list is links to my blog responses, but you can always go through. They always link to the actual critique. So you can go read the critique and see, like, am I fairly responding to them or not? And which I would love people to do. But it's worth pointing out that my view is it's at best 1 in 3 chance that there is a historical Jesus. So I'm not a dogmatist. I don't think it's absolutely ridiculous to think that there is a historical Jesus. It's a decent chance. It's just not above 50%. And that annoys people. That I won't admit that it's above 50%. I really don't think it is. Like the evidence is bad. And that's the sitch. Yeah.
I mean, it's never been a thing for me. Like, even if he did exist, it doesn't provide any evidence that he was God or that he rose from the dead.
Oh yeah, obviously. I mean, I agree with that position too, and I've made that point multiple times. I think people always say, like, of course you're a mythicist because you're an atheist. It's like, no, I was a historicist for most of my atheist life, because obviously there's no contradiction at all between a standard David Koresh narrative and atheism, right? Like, and I'm picking David Koresh, but you could pick any others, like Joseph Smith, any of these religious figures, or Muhammad. You can say Muhammad, right? It's like, you don't believe Islam is true, but you're gonna. It's not gonna like destroy Christianity to admit that Muhammad existed. Right. Right. So it's the same with atheism. Like, it doesn't challenge atheism at all to say that Jesus existed.
That's right.
No. Well, and the thing is, it's an interesting thing. It's an interesting thing you said, because like I've had at least 6 Christians demand that I debate them on mythicism and I'm like, I don't have a position on that. Why would I don't agree or disagree on it?
That's a respectable position. Yeah. Yeah, you just.
But nevertheless, like you said, they automatically assume.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That the first thing they're going to you know, prove me wrong that Jesus existed. I'm like, no, but I can definitely point you in the direction of why, like, the whole world didn't turn black. And you know what I mean? Like, black is midnight in the middle of day, and the dead didn't rise up and walk around and talk to people. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff I could point out to you that's utter bullshit, but I
just saw Nevermore Tavern.
Yes.
So, just asked, do you think Jesus is like King Arthur? I do actually use that analogy on the Historicity of Jesus. Very early on, I talk about King Arthur as a sort of case study. There are some parallels in terms of the role that making them up played. So like King Arthur is a fabricated person.
Yes.
Probably fabricated out of multiple people over a span of hundreds of years. But the figure became so intertwined with the idea of a united England, United Kingdom, hence UK, that to deny the historicity of King Arthur was tantamount to denying, to rejecting the idea of a united kingdom. So that was that whole idea, like it was, you had to affirm historicity of King Arthur and that whole mission to justify the United Kingdom, and to doubt that would be so politically offensive, and so that this inability to disconnect the political meaning of the historicity of King Arthur and just the mere empirical question of the historicity of King Arthur led to this insistence that King Arthur was historical, and you have like this fanatical, no, King Arthur's real, and how dare you suggest that none of this happened? And that happens with Jesus. So Jesus, he represents the same kind of idea of this Christian ideal. If you deny he exists, you're questioning my entire identity. You're questioning the entire salvation that's being offered, and so on. And so you need Jesus to exist and to be historical, because then you need him to have picked disciples, and the disciples have to have like picked successors, and that's the only reason the Catholic Church can be real. And if the Catholic Church isn't real, then the Lutheranism is made up, and so like you just can't, like it's a house of cards. It's just right, it's dominoes all the way down. So you need that, which is funny. I always thought, because you could have theoretically a Christian movement that goes back to what Paul was preaching, which is that Jesus was a revelatory being. And he underwent this cosmic atonement sacrifice cosmically that could only be known through revelation. You could go and preach that was real, that there was a real Jesus. He really did that. It didn't happen on earth. It happened in some sort of other realm. And it was known through revelation. Paul had the vision. It has to be true. It's as true as Mormonism or Islam, which are both based on visions. And so you could have this movement of Christianity that admits that Jesus didn't exist historically on earth, but did exist cosmically. And the entire Christian religion could remain true. And it would be interesting to see those guys arguing with the mainstream Christians. Let's see, different competing camps of Christianity. You could do it. It reminds me a lot of, so one of my girlfriends is ex-Jehovah's Witness. And she always likes to argue that the Jehovah's Witnesses have the most defensible version of Christianity, and like they win all arguments because they stick closest to the original Pauline version of things. And that she has a point. Actually, there's a lot of aspects of Jehovah's Witnesses where they've gotten rid of all the shit that was added later, so they actually have a better argument for being the true Christianity. And she can actually do this, where she could argue with the Christian as a fake now Jehovah's Witness and argue, no, my religion is superior. I don't believe any of it, but I can show you that Jehovah's Witnesses have the true Christianity, and they have the stronger arguments, honestly, which I find that amusing. It's just entertaining to see that happen. And then most Christians will deny Jehovah's Witnesses are even Christian because they're not Trinitarians.
Yeah, that's right.
But Paul wasn't a Trinitarian. Like, that's the thing, is Jehovah's Witnesses are sticking closer to the original version of the religion.
True.
That's funny in lots of ways, and it's interesting to see that happen.
You can find any number of Christian religions to do that, though. I was raised independent Baptist, and we were taught that every religion that was not like the Trail of Blood, independent Baptist Christianity was not really Christian. The Catholics weren't really Christians. Like none of them were really Christians.
I have this. I have a few books that are like the weird rants of evangelicals against other versions of Christianity. Like they're not attacking atheists, but attacking Catholics and stuff. And I have one that's somewhere in my library. It's the what is it? The Whore of Babylon. Catholicism is the Whore of Babylon, and it's this whole little tract where they're just going in like it's the Whore of Babylon, blah, and it's like that's oh my god,
dude. I was raised to believe that.
Yep.
That was part of the religion I grew up in. Was actually that the Catholic religion is the Whore of Babylon, and that the Pope would be the
exactly. There's a whole on this. Yeah. Anyway,
there's the whole thing.
I just noticed Ted Flanders has asked.
Yes.
About what he says, Mark 16 verses
9 through 20.
Called the long ending of Mark. That's the term.
Yeah.
We mentioned in the show Hitler, Homer, Bible, Christ. One of the chapters in that is my another funded project I did, an extensive study of that question. Is what is that? The mainstream view is it's a forgery that was added later. And the Christian apologists can't have that because that is a serious threat to their religion. So there's a lot of apologists who defend it. Here getting to like different sects. My favorite defense is by the Seventh-day Adventists who have their own academic journal, their own peer-reviewed academic journal. And the Seventh-day Adventists,
peer-reviewed in quotations, right?
It's actually a serious. No, it actually has standards. Oh. It's actually like a legitimate academic journal.
Okay.
This illustrates the point. Here, let me illustrate the point. So they wrote this article, and I cite it in this chapter in Hitler, Homer, Bible, Christ. So they do it. They tackle this. The historists and they need, or it's the Pentecostals. Wait, is it the Pentecostals? I think it's the Pentecostals. Sorry, not Seventh Day. It's the Pentecostals. Same thing. Like anyway. But the Pentecostals are the snake handlers, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So they need the long ending to be true because that's the only passage in the Bible where Jesus says just handle snakes and whatever.
Yeah, and poison and all,
Right. So they need this to be true. They need it to be true. It's literally sectarianly essential to them. And so they write this detailed, really like legitimately scholarly article examining the evidence. Is this a forgery, etc. And they're really honest. Like they do a really good job and they come to the conclusion like, yeah, we admit it was added later. It was not in the original draft of Mark. It is definitely a forgery. And then they end with this paragraph that says, yes, but the forgery was inspired by God. Therefore, it's scripture.
Right.
God wrote a forgery?
Which I respect. Like that is a lot of respect I got to throw to them because they were like honest about the facts and the reasoning and the logic. And then just came up with a faith-based reason to ignore the conclusion. But they were honest about it. Like it's fully like, granted, if you're just going to say that's fair. Like granted, they didn't lie about the facts. They didn't use fallacious arguments to try and prove that or anything like that. It was a legitimate, like it would meet the standards of any other journal, except any other journal would probably not allow them to include the last paragraph, or they would require them to say maybe. They would have to have a maybe,
a disclaimer of some kind.
Right, a subjunctive verb.
That's a much better word.
But apart from that, no, it was actually a respectable article, and so the Pentecostal, I think it's. I might be getting it wrong, but it's one of these sects. But anyway, it has this journal is a legitimate journal. It's just, obviously it has an angle and it wants to publish articles that support its position, but it does have standards. And so that props to that.
The Seventh-day Adventists are like messianic proselytizing. Like they're weird. Like they follow all the old Judaic laws. So they worship on the Sabbath. They practice the Sabbath. They don't eat pork. Most of them are vegans. Yeah, or a lot of them are vegans. I've known a few of them in my life. I went to a school in Keene, Texas, which is one of the major hubs of Seventh-day Adventism. When I was
going to say veganism.
No, like the entire town is owned by the Seventh-day Adventists, man.
Oh wow.
It's a trippy place. I actually had a run-in with the police there one time with a head full of LSD.
Nice. That
was an interesting. It was an interesting night. We were at a duck pond, and the male ducks were assaulting the female ducks. And at the time, I didn't realize that was the way that they proliferate. And so we were trying to chase them away from the female ducks to stop them from harassing the female ducks. And the police showed up, and my buddy ran and dived headfirst into a bush with his feet sticking out of it, and left me to talk to the cop. And he walked up and said, "Excuse me, but are you gentlemen out here harassing these ducks?" And I said, "No, dude, every day's Earth Day." And he laughed his ass.
What does that even mean?
Yeah, I don't know. But he laughed his ass off and he just said, "Look, I got to go make sure some doors to lock to some stores. Just don't fucking be here when I get back, all right?"
Right.
It's like, okay, yeah. I won't. Gone.
Yeah, let the ducks rape each other. It's okay.
It's God's design.
Yeah, I had another question, Nick, if I may ask it.
Wait, what's that?
I had another question. I just wanted to know if I could ask it.
Yeah,
of course.
What do you usually respond to people who make the argument that even though religion may not be true, it was still useful for society? Like the utilitarian argument for religion.
Yeah. I have an article on my blog, which is "What's the Harm?" Where I kind of answer that question in more detail. But in brief, religion co-opted all that shit, right? So like you can have all that stuff without the religion is the simple answer. Like it doesn't matter. Like why are we attaching all the supernatural, dogmatic, doctrinal stuff to things like, community centers and hospitals and like all the things that you might think are important? They all have secular versions that you could just have those things. You don't need all that other stuff attached to it. So it's really suspicious that religion needs to attach itself to that stuff. Like why is it being parasitical on the things that we need that are important to society? And of course, when religion does that, it so envelops it that when you try to get rid of religion, you're also casting free these other things you need. You do have to rebuild those things because religion has so co-opted them that they've not allowed any version of those things to exist that they don't control. What we need to do is wrestle control of those things back and create secular versions of them. Whatever it is, like you list all the things, whatever it is that you think is important for religion that for secular reasons, we need to recreate that without all of the superstition and the dogmas. That's what has to happen. Now that obviously you can debate. I mean, in many ways we have. There are some things we're missing. Like we don't have proper community centers anymore. Like they exist, there are community centers, but we don't do things like you used to have. Like you have small towns, you would have a gathering for something. Like there would be gatherings regularly for people. I mean, a farmer's market would be a classic example. Like just everybody would meet at the farmer's market, and it would be a thing. Or there would be local like rituals that are unique. You could talk like what is that? The Groundhog Day thing. Like that's a silly ritual. That's become ridiculous to this point, but originally it was a thing that people could gather around and stuff, and no one really believed that groundhogs are supernaturally predictive of the weather. But you can have things like that, and we do have things like that. We just don't have them. We've sort of separated people in a way. There's a book called Bowling Alone that's kind of about this, about how society has sort of nuked its social organization. We used to have societies like in the 50s and 60s, you could go, like there'd be golfing or bowling or various things where the community could come together and you would meet people and socialize and have common interests. And we've kind of nuked those things. We don't really have them anymore. We have them a little, but they're not pervasive. So you have like pub trivia. Okay, we have that, but it's not like a thing where you go and you meet old friends from years ago kind of thing. Like, right. So I still think there are things we've lost that we need to rebuild, and we just haven't done a good job of that yet. But a lot of that has to do with the fact that religion has torn it apart and has corrupted it. And so like it isn't getting out of the way. And so that we can't come up with new things. Now there's stuff kind of similar. Like I've recently dipped my toe into the Burning Man experience, right? Like, so now Burning Man itself sounds like a horrific shit show that I don't want to have anything to do with. But there are all these like regional burns that maintain the old culture where you go and it's demonetized. There's no money, no trade. It's all gifting culture. It's all sharing and stuff. And you do that for like a weekend or maybe a week. and experience this really bonding experience with people. And you have this kind of village experience with people that we've lost in modern society. And I find that fascinating. And I think that's an example of people who are looking for these kinds of experiences. And they've created them in these kind of this particular narrow way that people enjoy. But we need more of that, I think, in society. But that's just one example of what I think needs to be done.
Yeah. Well, then there's a church on every single corner, and all your friends and family are there. And you know what I mean? Or a lot of your friends and family are there. It doesn't cost anything to get in the door. Nowadays, it's like a rock and roll concert. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
It's like,
they're integrated into the politics. So if you want to control the politics in your community, you've got to be involved in the church. Like they basically put their fingers in everything, and they're trying to control everything and won't let anyone else get involved in. They won't allow any other way to be involved in these things. And that's how religion perpetuates itself, right? It makes itself indispensable by using this argument that, oh no, you need us. It's like, we really don't need you. You're just being a dick about it. We don't need your dogmas. You're just claiming we need your dogmas and then punishing anyone who doesn't accept that. And that's where, and there's been some documentaries about religion in the Black community in America that have covered this, about how, especially in that community, how much churches have really taken over and won't allow any new version of culture to arise, and that gets in the way and creates conflict within the Black community, for example.
I hadn't heard that. That sounds pretty cool. I'd like to.
Look for those. There's so look for trying to think of what the Google search would be. Black Atheism video or movie through Google. You can find there's at least two. I can't remember. One is, I think, called Contradiction. There's a couple others that have talked about this. They're good, actually. They're good documentaries about it.
That's something I've kind of wondered about, why there isn't more atheists in the Black community based on what we know of the religion.
Oh, it's rising. It actually is. No, it's on the rise. Mm-hmm. And you have there are Black atheist organizations in many cities. And you have this problem, like the white atheists, and I'm going to call it white atheist organizations because they usually tend to be often don't know about the Black. They don't talk to each other, and that's another problem. But and a lot of that is political too. Like the other atheist organizations don't want to overlap with the political interests of the Black atheist organizations. They should. But that's, so there's stuff that has to happen. But the point being is it's happened for like the younger generations. There may be a generation behind white America, but that's because white America has always had the privilege and advantage of being ahead of everything. But the Black communities are catching up. It's just they're a little behind in terms of time. But it's happening, and these conflicts are happening. You have the Black atheism, Black secularism, Black agnosticism pushing back against the domination of the churches.
Richard, I got a question, if I can.
Absolutely.
What do you think?
Just
what do you
hang
think
on. Okay. I just wanted to say I've got more people that want to sort of circulate in and out. So
can I bounce out then? I've got things to do with the wife.
I'll drop out.
Richard, it's nice to see you, and hopefully I can get you on my show one of these days.
I'll give you Richard's email.
Yeah, that's the way.
Awesome. Thank you. Take care. Nice meeting you. Nice meeting you all.
Yeah, nice meeting you.
Chris.
All right. Sorry about that, Wes. Go ahead, sir.
Okay. I just want to. I'll bounce out here in a minute too, but I want to ask Richard what he thought about gays in the Bible.
Wait, who's asking this? This is
me.
Duke? No, co-host West.
Co-host.
Mutant Duke.
Okay, go ahead.
Gays in the Bible. I was wondering what you think. In the Old Testament, I wonder what the customs were when it said a man lays with a male. Mm-hmm. Does male mean young boy? Is it pedastry they're talking about? Or is it homosexuality?
No, it's definitely homosexuality.
Okay.
I might have a comment on this somewhere. I know I wrote
about the New Testament.
Yeah, same thing. I know the same arguments have been made, but it doesn't hold up on the ancient language. It's not based on that. No, they're definitely anti-gay. Okay. There's no doubt about that. There's even a passage in Romans that seems pretty firmly anti-lesbian too, which you usually don't see. But and the reason you don't see that, I think, in the Old Testament is that they couldn't contemplate women being interested in other women sexually. Like that was not on their radar. Like they were so ignorant. That could be a thing. But by the time of the Roman era, like that was definitely a thing. And so you have this one throwaway line in Paul where it's like, women are doing this and doing the unnatural things with other women and stuff. So, yeah, no, it's just very homophobic. It's and that does come from Judaism. It doesn't come from the wider culture.
Okay, I just knew there wasn't words for gays back then. Or were there? I don't.
Well, I mean, obviously, don't in the Old Testament they don't say gay. They say men lying. They have to come up with this elaborate sentence.
Yes, that's
right. In the New Testament, you do see some words arise, and they do see, and people will say like this is the first appearance of some of these words.
Yeah.
Now that's to be clear, that's the first appearance in a written text that survives.
Yeah.
Right. So that's I think the problem there is I'm willing to bet that word was commonly thrown about. It's just it was thrown about orally or in texts that we don't have. And the earliest appearance of it is in Paul doing this stuff. But it's very clear from the etymology of the word and the way Paul talks about it and the other words he chooses. No, he's anti-gay very clearly. Okay. So yeah, but I'm aware, like you're hinting at, there is this sort of liberal Christian apologetic that the text means something else, and therefore the Bible is not anti-gay. And I'm aware of that as a sort of a liberal Christian apologetic that exists out there. It doesn't really hold up on the actual analysis of the language.
Okay.
But and like I said, I do have a comment on that. I think it's buried deep in my Facebook wall, though. It's probably like a year ago.
Okay. I do have you on Facebook, but
I actually might. You know what can't hurt is if you want the details, like email me about it. And I might have written it down somewhere, and I might have I think I have it somewhere. I'm gonna not search for it now, but if you email me about it, I think I wrote all that stuff down and put it somewhere in a file. I can send it to you, and so you can see my analysis of the language and stuff.
Yeah, I know the first mention was in the German Bible, is the one that's popular anyway that they talk about, but for having the gay word homosexual.
Yes, the word homosexual. Right.
For that.
And I think it's I do think that's a fair translation of the Greek word that they put in there. I mean, it's it's an example of people always get annoyed by polyamory. They talk about, you're combining Greek and Latin. There's lots of words that combine Greek and Latin. Television, for example, but homosexual is another one.
Yeah,
it's a Greek prefix and a Latin suffix. But no, that happens a lot in English. But yeah, it's a reasonable translation of the original Greek. It's the intent is there for sure.
Okay, thank you for answering my question. I'm going to go ahead and bounce, I guess. And
all righty.
It was good talking to you again.
Yeah, it's nice talking to you. Good to see you again.
Years since I've seen you.
I know, yeah.
I do have a Richard story too, but I don't remember most of it. I was pretty drunk by the time the night ended. I remember last time I bought
story of my life.
Yeah,
I don't remember much.
But after that was about it.
It was good. We had a good time. That's for sure.
Sorry, Duke. I forgot I muted you.
Oh my God.
You're okay, buddy. I actually thought I'd muted myself.
Oh, okay.
I didn't realize I hadn't.
Oh shit, Wes took off and I didn't say
there's no sweat at all.
Yeah, he said he was going to go. Hello, Jay. I noticed you popped in. Yeah.
He's the one that the tavern guy.
Yeah, the Nevermore Tavern.
Explain. I'm lost.
That's my YouTube channel, is the Nevermore Tavern.
Oh, no, I don't know this. So I'm way out of the loop. I'm not an informed person. So
the Nevermore Tavern was one of the things that I popped up in here that you'd read earlier.
Okay.
Yeah, I asked about the King Arthur.
Yeah, right. Oh, I see. Okay. Nevermore Tavern was Now I got it. Okay. Yes. I thought you were talking about a YouTube channel I didn't know about, but okay, yeah.
Yeah, well, it used to be. What did you used to call it?
It was End the Conspiracy, and then I shortened it down to ETC. But it just due to the nature of things, it went away from that whole, and it's progressed into what it is now. So, long story short. So yeah, but I'm looking more towards, I do symbol videos. I do some stuff on. We started a serial killers. And then I'm going into conversations Like I'm booked almost every Saturday through April now, conversations with people. So
cool.
And we just had I think it was last Saturday, had a conversation between atheist pastor and Darth Dawkins. So that was
all right.
Wow. Are you Richard? Are you familiar with Darth Dawkins?
I am not. No.
Oh,
you're much better off.
Okay. No, that's totally the impression
I was going to say
got.
why.
Yeah. That's totally the impression I got. I just assumed that was the case, but I have to note. Are you
familiar with Seitan? Are you familiar with Seitan Bruggencat?
No.
Another one that's good.
All right.
Okay, if you were familiar with him, you'd be pretty much familiar with Darth Dawkins. They're like the same person. They're presuppositionalists. And they're
God.
Really annoying.
Okay, that's why I don't know anything about them. I can't stand those guys.
Well,
I don't think they're honest. I think they're very disingenuous.
Yeah, in the conversation we had on Saturday, I was moderating the two, and the atheist pastor threw his presupposition right back at his face. He started out going, "Oh, I'm not an atheist. I converted to Hinduism this morning."
Right. Yeah. There you go. Great pumpkin.
Yeah.
Actually, Vikram here was on my show fairly recently. I guess it was about half a year ago now, somewhere. And he did his deconversion was from Hinduism. So, which he was my first.
I noticed in the live comments, Santi the Sane.
Yes.
Comments like, try being a Hispanic atheist. We are like unicorns. There is a national organization, half free, Hispanic American Free Thought Society or something like that. I've hung out with the leader of that. They're pretty cool. So that exists. So there's the thing, you look up for them. Look them up, I should say. So you're not alone. There are Hispanic atheists out there. Ironically, I think there are probably more Hispanic atheists in Hispanic countries than in the United States. So because I'm connected with like atheist movements in Chile, Mexico, where else? Oh, well, Brazil, but that's Portuguese. But anyway, but there's a lot more like subversive atheism going on now in the third world than people are aware of. Whereas what you oftentimes the immigration that you get here is there's a lot of favoritism towards Christians. So, and Christian churches, fund a lot of this. So you get a lot of influx of Christian Hispanics into the U.S., not the radical atheists generally. So. There's a solid amount of Hispanic atheists out there to find. You just got to go find them. They're more popular than unicornism. They're just hard to find. Yeah.
If that's a thing, I want to be a part of that one.
Well, okay, that can mean things in different communities. So
indeed, it can. I was just going to say something along those lines.
Absolutely.
I just had another question. When it comes to the God debate, do you take the position of lack of belief in a God, or do you take the position that there are no gods?
Argentina. Okay. I was just going to notice Santi the Sane said Argentina native here. I don't. That's true. I have no contacts in Argentina, so that's a new one. All right. But please ask your question again. Okay. What was that?
Sorry. Can you hear me? Sorry.
Yeah. I was distracted. That was on me.
No worries. My question was that when it comes to the God debate, do you take the position of I don't believe in a God, I lack a belief in a God, or do you take the position that there are no gods?
Oh, I'm definitely on the strong atheism side. I think the probability of a God is so low, and there's abundant evidence to establish that it is low. So I will fiercely take that. I'll even take on I know oftentimes Christians want to force atheists to take the positive in a debate, take the affirmative position. No, you're the weirdo. You've got to make the affirmative position that there's no God. And the wisdom usually is don't let them do that. That's a cop out, really. No, I'll gladly do that. I'll take a positive defense of naturalism, atheistic naturalism. I will be first speaker, and you can be the last to speak, and I'll still win the debate.
Can I speak on your side of the fence too? Because that's where my position lies.
Yeah.
To me,
I'm exactly the same.
Yeah. They're just mythologies to me. But you know,
granted, it's easier to defend the agnostic position, and I see the value of that. Like, just if all you have to do is maintain agnosticism, like even if that's not your position, it is definitely an easier way to go. And so, like, there's advantages to that as well. I admit, but I'm willing to go on and just full on defend positive atheism. The whole naturalism is true. This is the best explanation of the world. Yeah.
So just to follow from that, like, I guess my question would be, what would be your justification for even naturalism or just the belief that there is no God? Like, what would you bring forward? Like,
to do what exactly?
So if you make the claim that there is no God, or that if you make a positive claim for naturalism, what would be, I guess, your justification for it?
So I'm a Bayesian, and so the always the argument is you pick a list of evidence. If that evidence is more probable on naturalism than on theism, then that evidence increases the probability of naturalism over theism. And I have an article, if you haven't read it, I highly recommend it, is Bayesian counter apologetics on my blog. So go to my blog, which is richardcarrier.info, and then there's a search line, search for Bayesian counter apologetics, and where I outline this entire point, which is when you actually, what Christian apologists do is they will cherry pick some evidence and argue for God from that. But they leave out evidence. When you put the evidence they leave out back in, it flips the other way around. The evidence actually argues against the existence of God and supports the contrary thesis, which is that there's some form of naturalism is true. And that's the perfect example of where I do that. I go through 10 arguments for God and show how they all flip the other way when you put the evidence back in. So that's what I do. And I've done this, literally I've done this. For those who are really gluttons for punishment, I did a debate way back in 2003 with Dan Barker. Dan Barker and I on one side, and Hassanein Rajabali and Michael Corey on the other side, before an audience of about 1,000 Muslims in Dearborn, Michigan. This is 2 years after 9/11, so it opens with a Muslim prayer, like, because they're the hosts and the whole thing. So it's a 4-hour debate because it's a team debate. There's 4 of us. So it could be a bit of a slog, but Barker and I agreed going in that he would be bad cop and I would be good cop, meaning I would stick to the positive argument for naturalism and he would stick to the negative argument against religion. That worked out perfectly because we got all the arguments in. And it was so funny that there were people that came up to each of us afterwards, and we would get the same thing. There'd be someone coming up, I'm so glad you didn't do the like ragging on religion thing and you did the positive thing. And then someone would come up to Dan and say, like, I'm so glad you attacked religion and didn't let it get away with the stuff. And it just illustrated the value of both messages working, because you're hitting different audiences. You need both the negative and the positive out there. They were both effective because there were different people that responded differently to different approaches to it. But point being is that's what I did. Is I was a positive defender of naturalism. So if you want to see how that looks, like what that looks like in a debate, that's sort of like the paradigmatic example. In a written form, the Carrier-Wanchik debate is the one to look at, and that's at the Secular Web. You just look for Carrier and Wanchik. That's Wanchick, I think. And that's where we did a written debate, and I took the positive of defending naturalism, and I sort of outlined generally how that works and what it looks like. But yeah, I've done this many times in many different ways, and so it is looking at naturalism as a better explanation for so many facts than theism is. Naturalism explains more facts than theism does, and so on. And that's how you make a positive case for naturalism, which entails atheism, basically.
Hey, let me break in for 2 seconds to say it was really cool getting to talk to you. It was nice to see everybody. I'm going to bounce out. Y'all guys have a great night.
All right, cool.
All right, dude. Thanks for jumping in, brother. Math Pig, there's a space available if you want to jump in.
And greetings, Flow State.
Nice to meet you.
Saw you come in there. I actually have to run to the restroom, but I'll be right back, guys. So talk amongst yourself.
What was that from Saturday Night Live, right? Mike Myers? On something or other. Walk amongst yourselves. Yeah. We'll give you a topic. Shit. All right. So, do any of you guys have more questions for Richard?
I got a question for him.
Yeah, okay. I've got a question too.
Awesome. That's what I like. You guys are my guests on the after. I've done all my talking with him. Well, not that I got much in edgewise, but he's quite the talkative guy. But you guys are the ones that I invite in here to talk to the host or the host. I'm the host. Yeah. Right. So yeah, Neil stake his room. Mikey's like stake his room. Mikey, by the way, is one of the newer hosts for In Time. Yeah, and he had actually Mikey. Shit, Mikey, you should jump in here. That would surprise the shit out of him. I bet you. Actually, I'm going to send you a link, Mikey. Math Pig, you're on hold.
Blame Math Pig.
Is it what the? Coming up.
Yeah, Math Pig. Don't forget, Aussies, to hit the thumbs down.
Hang on.
I am back.
All right.
We were talking mad shit on you.
What the? Why is this not happening? Am I not typing this correctly?
Is that Knob Creek?
Knob Creek? I don't know who Knob Creek is.
Knob Creek is a bourbon. This I'm trying to.
I'm here. I'm looking for somebody in the.
Here we go. Basil Hayden is what it is. Yeah. I like Knob Creek. Knob Creek's okay. I'm a bigger fan of scotches than bourbons, though.
Why am I not?
What's going on?
I'm trying to find someone to invite into the chat, and I'm not finding. And I've had him in my messages on Twitter for forever, but I'm not finding his thing here. Oh, Vice Rhino. No, not him.
All right. Well, I got a question I'll throw out in the meantime.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. But there's folks here that have questions for you.
What?
It's a way for me to say you can speak. Like
yeah, right. Yeah, go for it.
What is the psychological benefit people are getting from religion? Why do people keep going to religions or irrational beliefs? What is getting satisfied here? What's that providing that they can't get elsewhere?
I'm of the opinion that it's different things for different people. So there's no one answer to that question. But I mean, you know how to answer that question is to ask someone who was a believer and isn't anymore, and ask them why, like what was sucking you in at the time, because that will give you the best intelligence on that. And I find generally it's fear of various things, right? Fear of mortality, fear of ostracization, fear of confronting the injustice of the world. They're afraid of something and they don't want to admit it and confront it. And religion is a salve, basically. It's an escape from that. But then there are people, and these are usually the hardest ones to deconvert, where religion is a vehicle for justifying their prejudices and their bigotries. They need religion to justify their mean thoughts about the world, and that's where I think like people who are like serious homophobes, for example, you can still be and I've met them. You can meet atheist homophobes. They use evolutionary psychology bullshit to justify. It's the same bullshit religious ideology without gods and supernatural. But generally, it's easier to pick a version of things that the community supports. So if you pick like Christianity to justify your homophobia, you've got the backing of the general community. It's like, no, Christianity and the Bible says, etc. So it's easier to tell yourself that you're a hero rather than a villain if you have these certain attitudes. So I find there's a lot of people that use religion that way to justify the prejudices and bigotries they already have. But that's not everybody, right? Like I said, it's some people it's about mortality. They don't want to confront their mortality. Some people it's one thing, some people it's another thing. It's a different thing for different people. And then there are people, of course, who just don't know there's an alternative and don't understand that the alternative makes more sense. So,
by the way, a very, very good friend of mine, I call him my brother from another mother, Mikey Famine has joined us, who I think you're familiar with, Richard.
Yes. Hey, hi.
You were on In Time the other day.
Yeah. We were just having a thing. Yeah, right on.
I have been listening to Rammstein.
Yes, you messaged me about that. What do you think?
It's not the Du Hast Rammstein.
No, it's much better than Du Hast, trust me.
I was like, oh God, look at this guy. So smart, but so dumb. Why would I listen to it? But no, there's so much better than.
Oh, yeah.
Like there's actual instrumentation now. I was like, oh God, they're actually going to play guitar?
Yes. No, isn't that right? Yeah. No, legit. Right.
Yeah,
Du
like
Hast is
actual
not a
music
good.
now.
That song is not a good representation of what they are.
I would argue that, but
I don't. I
showed up through
have. Well,
I mean, back in the day, that was very paradigmatic for Rammstein, and it became super popular. Like it was the one that made them internationally famous. But no, this last album is just. I mean, it's a masterwork compared to a lot of their previous albums. So
they're best, in my opinion.
Yeah. I was really impressed. And Mikey, sounds like you were.
Yeah, it is a lot. I'm glad I actually did it, and I wasn't gonna be like, man, look at this mother. But Du Hast is a good song, but it's a good song for like 1997 when like industrial metal
was
just coming out.
Yes.
I have no idea what this means. Have you heard the version where Jesus escaped to Japan? And thank you for the super chat.
No, I haven't heard that one, actually. I've heard of him escaping to India, but I've not heard of him escaping to
Japan. I heard that one too, not the Japan one. And
France, Richard. Escaping to France. That's another one, yeah.
And the U.S., don't forget, that's what the Mormons think.
Oh my God, he flew to the United States. Yeah, that's right.
Flew to the States, yeah. Well, he could walk on waters. He just walked across the Atlantic.
Well, it's funny. I had a brief argument with a Mormon about this once, and I keep saying this, that Jesus flew to the United States, according to Mormons. So, no, he didn't fly. He came down from heaven. It's like, and how did he get to heaven? How did he come down from heaven? That's flying.
Exactly.
Yes, maybe it's a space plane. He's like in orbit and comes, but no, it's flying. He flew to fucking America. That's Mormonism. That's mainstream Mormonism. Jesus flew to America.
I'm gonna have to give you.
Sorry.
I'm the host. You shut up.
What are you doing, Mikey? You're like wandering around at random, like.
I'm moving. All of my stuff is like gone. Like I'm just at the house, like cleaning and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah, like I'm.
I was wondering why you came on
my
the phone.
Stuff is. Yeah, all my stuff's going.
Oh, you're moving.
Yeah, like I have nothing in my place anymore. So my laptop's at the
I'll be doing that soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm moving end of April.
I was gonna say, Richard, I'll have to give you a link to my music. If you like the harder edge.
Ooh, really good stuff.
Oh, I'll definitely want to listen to it. Yeah, for sure.
Really good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thanks,
my
Jay.
stuff too.
Oh yeah, I've got it bookmarked on my bookmarks, and I play it almost every day.
Wow. Actually, R and Raw really liked the one song, "Taste My Sin."
Yeah, that's probably my favorite one. Is "Taste My Sin." That, and then was Dollhouse.
Dollhouse. Oh, the acoustic, the Spanish acoustic one. Yeah. Jen's like, yeah, we got to collab on a song. We'll talk about it. You're not the first person. Shelley Segal wants to do a song with me too.
Oh, that'd be nice. Yeah.
I'll have her on the show actually coming up pretty soon. So
cool. Yeah, excellent.
Yeah.
Oh, she's got good stories for because she's ex-Jew, right? So Orthodox.
Exactly why. Yes,
Orthodox Jew. So very hardcore. Yeah.
Definitely. So that should be fun. If you're around, Rich, you should jump in for the after party for that.
I probably will be busy.
I figured as much.
Yeah, I've got, especially these next like 3 months are going to be crazy for me because I have to like get everything done necessary before my move. And then once you move, you're going to be like disheveled for, a month before you've like finally settled in and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's only a temporary move. I've got I don't know where I'm going to actually end up. It'll be Southern California, but I don't know where exactly by the end of the year, because I'm doing a beachhead thing where I'm going to go grab the guest room at my parents' place, sort out their house a bit, and then I'll start looking for a place for myself. But I don't know where I'll be ultimately. So I'm really moving twice this year. It's going to be a bit much.
IQ
Queensryche.
Fucking Queensryche, okay?
One of my girlfriends, Kate, loves Queensryche. She grew up.
They're great, but he wants to sing like what's his name there? I'm not operatically trained. I do pretty good.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
like I go, yeah, I can't do all that.
Yeah, operatically trained, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and Duke's getting mad because he wants to collab with me too. I'm still kind of trying to figure out some cadence for the song.
Right.
It'll happen eventually. Duke, don't shit yourself. It'll be okay. But
So Jay, did you have a question?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
So one of the first videos I seen that you did, it was I have it actually pulled up here. It was the Center for Inquiry in Calgary. Where you did how does history and science prove and disprove a religion?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, really good. If you guys haven't seen that, it's really worth a watch.
That talk came together. It was a good venue too. We had quite a lot of people showed up.
Now you say in there that Osiris, Adonis, Romulus, Zalmaxis, and Anna are basically the same thing as Jesus, roughly. Kind of squished together. But I mean, the stories, the resurrection stories, I believe.
Yeah. So they are all resurrected savior deities before Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
So it's, but they're all different from each other, but they all share the same common theme of resurrection savior God. And Jesus is just part of the same trend, basically.
So do you? I just wanted to clarify. So do you think that they took the Jesus myth from those and crafted it to fit them, or do you think it was just a kind of a?
We talked about that actually on the show. So Neil and I, that'll be on. So once that gets archived, you can go watch it.
Yeah, I've watched most of it. We were in the middle of doing fish tanks, so I may have missed that.
Oh, okay, yeah. So no, it's literally my take on this is that it's not that when the Christians started as a Jewish sect, so they're really a countercultural, anti-elite fringe sect of Jews. When they launched their point of view, it's not that they borrowed from a pagan variant. What they saw is all these different mystery religions, many different cultures, but there were common features of them all, including the resurrected Savior part. So they saw a common feature, and they just took all the common features, stripped away all the cultural aspects of those things, and then put Jewish stuff on top of it as the cultural aspect. So they created a Jewish version of it. So it's not that they're copying Osiris cult or Inanna cult or anything like that. It's that they see all these cults and they all have similar features, and they like those similar features. And there's I think there was a sort of mindset that if this pattern is recurring over and over and over again, there must be something cosmically true about it. There must be some like a hint of the divine message in it. And so they found it. They looked for and found it, like by looking at tea leaves in the Bible, and so constructed a Jewish version of it. And I think so Jesus is mostly constructed out of Judaism. Christianity is mostly Jewish. Most of the myths about Jesus are Jewish myths. Reconstructed Moses, reconstructed Elijah. But the skeleton of it, the basic structure of the idea, is the skeleton that they see shared by all these other cultural mystery religions, including Osiris cult and Zalmaxis cult and Adonis cult and so on. So we're down to 4 now.
So now I don't know hardly anything about any of the other ones. Does the Jesus myth fit closer to any of those? Like, is there the similarities more towards one than the other?
No, I wouldn't say any more one than the other. I found more similarities with Romulus, but that might just be an accident of the survival of sources. I think when the Christians when Mark, the Gospel of Mark is constructing his gospel, I think he wants Jesus to be the anti-Romulus. He's sort of the replacement, the superior Romulus. The Roman Empire is selling Romulus as its version of this. And they had passion plays. They had Passion of Romulus plays that were ongoing. So that was a thing. And I think Christians want their own version of it, where they're arguing against the messaging of Romulus cult, but their version is sort of the superior Romulus. But in doing that, they're not copying verbatim Romulus. They're just getting ideas and sometimes flipping them, reversing them. So like Luke is a classic example where Luke has the Emmaus narrative. The Emmaus narrative is a clear emulation of the Romulus narrative of the Epiphany on the road to Alba Longa, where Proculus meets the resurrected Romulus, and Romulus conveys the gospel to him, the sort of Roman gospel of conquest. It's the gospel of Roman power. And Romulus, when he appears to him as this glorious God, kind of the resurrected deity thing. In the Emmaus narrative, Jesus is so humble that they don't even recognize that he's a god or even Jesus. He's just some dude they meet on a road. And he conveys the gospel, and the gospel is about submission and humility and not about conquest and empire. So what's happened here is Luke has taken the Romulus narrative and flipped it exactly upside down and saying, this is our message. Our message is the opposite of the Romulus message. So you see how, like, even when they're riffing off of Romulus, they'll reverse it. On purpose, because they don't like the Romulus narrative. They're against the Romulus narrative, but they want to create a Romulus narrative that represents their messaging. And so you get something like the Emmaus narrative, where you meet the resurrected God on a road, but it's a different kind of God. God represents different values, teaches you different things. That's the point. And so these are the kinds of ways that they riff off of other cultures and religions. We had someone there and they disappeared. What happened?
Yeah, Jen was here and then she's not here anymore.
All right.
Oh, well, no, she's there. She just popped back into the green room for some reason.
Okay.
Yes, no, sorry
The
about
green
that.
room.
I had my script up and running for StreamYards and I forgot to turn it off before I came in.
Oh, right on. All right. Hello.
It made it really hard to see what was going on.
Well, hello. Greetings.
Hi, Richard. How are you?
I am well. Yes, I'm relaxed now. I've been working really hard and I was really exhausted before we did the show. The problem with doing podcasts for me, or video casts, like at 7 p.m. my time, is that I've been working since 9 and I'm like usually tired and I'm like, okay, we'll do an hour and then then I'm done for the night and whatever. But no, I get invited on to do this and I can drink more bourbon and
And then he got into the bourbon.
I'm okay. I'm floating. I'm good. Yeah.
I'm getting there too. This is number 4 now, right? And it's actually helping with my back.
It's a bit early for me to be drinking, so I'll be doing mine later on 6 packs.
Yeah, 6 pack.
What time is it for you?
It's 10:30 in the morning.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
She's in Australia, so
Yeah, I'm an Aussie.
Yeah, I could tell from the accent. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can tell the difference between Australia and New Zealand accent because
really?
Oh, we don't say sex, we say six.
Well, I have to say, New Zealanders, I have a hard time understanding at all. I remember I had a conversation with a New Zealander on a train once, and I asked her what she did for a living, and she said, hairdresser. Hairdresser? Like, what do you, what? Hairdresser. Hairdresser. What? And it took me a while to figure like, hairdresser. Okay.
Yeah.
It's almost like an Australian accent, like taken to the extreme.
They kind of cut their vowels a bit and change the vowel sounds around, which makes it really complicated sometimes.
It's funny,
certainly for an American. Yeah.
I don't hear her accent. Jen co-hosts with me every Saturday.
Yeah.
Been doing it for almost a year now. So I don't even hear the accent anymore. So when somebody says she's got an accent, I'm going, oh yeah, that's right, she does.
Yeah. I don't, because I was married to an American for 4 years. I actually don't hear your accents. So it's like, they're not there for me anymore. So.
Yeah. Well, I actually like the Australian accent. I think it's like a really elegant accent. I know a lot of people don't have the attitude about it, but I do. But yeah.
Yeah, the biggest problem we have is as Australians, we tend to talk really fast. So we tend to run our words together. And
everybody does that. Really.
Oh no, but you should hear me when I get really excited. It is really hard to follow what I'm actually saying.
When she gets,
like one big long word.
When she gets going,
I get accused of this myself all the time. I talk too fast a lot. Yeah.
She gets real passionate about a topic and starts going. It's like, good Lord.
What the hell did you just say, Jen? Oh, sorry. I'll have to slow down. And
wait,
start again.
Someone is claiming you're Western Australian.
I am.
Okay, so I guess they recognize a distinctive difference in your accent.
The accent is slightly different.
Okay.
So
wow, that's impressive.
We've actually got slightly regional accents. If you got someone like
we do in America, but people don't notice it. I know
it depends where you go. I mean, I've been to Atlanta, Georgia, and yeah, that was an eye opener for me. It was like, American accents, I don't hear them. Now I do.
Well, as a Californian, so I was born and raised in California. When I did my dissertation work, I had a full ride. I had a fellowship at Columbia University, so I lived in Manhattan for 6 years.
Yeah,
and almost immediately upon living there, people were pegging me as Californian right away, and like, oh, your accent. I have an accent?
See, I don't
California specifically?
Accent.
Like, really?
On the West Coast,
apparently, I have a Californian accent that's so distinctive. And it's not a surfer accent. It's not a valley accent. That's what surprised me. It's like, I don't have a valley accent. I have a surfer accent. Like, no, they can peg it.
I mean, I don't hear yours. I don't hear Jay's. I don't hear Neil's. I can hear Shannon's sometimes. I know that's Canadian, like Neil's, but I can hear.
She's East Coast, though. She's the opposite.
Yeah, yeah, and their accent is more like comparing Australian and New Zealand, where they really change the way their vowel sounds, so it is noticeable.
You think I have an accent, Jen?
Sorry,
you're Irish for fuck's sakes, Matt.
Do you think I have an Irish? Do you think I have an accent?
Yeah.
Is that Math Pig speaking?
Yes.
That's Math Pig.
Get him to say that.
But I don't really hear yours either, because I've been to England and I had a lot of Scottish and Irish friends and that, and I had an aunt who was Irish, so I don't really hear your accent either.
Wow.
It's kind of strange.
No, because I'm Scottish descent living in Ireland, so that's perfect.
Oh, that's so. I just love it. I don't have any problems picking out the words or anything like that. I mean, I can hear it's different, and I love the sound of it, but I don't have any problems with it. But if you go somewhere like some of the Cockney areas in England, they're really hard to follow.
Sure. I could slip full Irish and go completely Irish and see if you could understand this with me Lucky Charms and all that.
Oh, come on.
You look at rabbits. No, that's not the right accent.
That's my only.
You kiss the Blarney Stone with that mouth, do you?
I have not kissed the Blarney Stone yet. No.
I haven't been to Ireland, so I haven't been anywhere near that. But I've been to Scotland. I've been to Loch Ness. It is Lake Ness, but still.
Yeah.
That's just their word for it. Loch Ness. I've been there.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't see the monster.
No, me neither. I was very disappointed because I was like 6.
Oh.
What were you saying, Matthew?
I says we've got Loch Ness. We don't have Loch Ness, but we've got Loch Ness.
Loch Ness.
What the hell is that? Is there a monster in that one too?
No, it's just a big giant hole in the middle of Northern Ireland where they used to dump World War II trucks and stuff. And it's
oh yeah, we've got the Ogopogo here in the Okanagan, Lake Okanagan. So
yeah, well, how far is that from you, Neil?
3.5 hours, 4 hours.
Oh, that's a decent drive.
Godless Mom lives right there, right? Like
is she?
Lives right there. So I'm literally 3.5 to 4 hours away from her, and we're going to start our own show too, pretty soon.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Well, because you know that myself and Mama Atheist Amanda have started a show.
Yeah, I've heard.
Critical Bitches. So yeah,
Critical Bitches. That's awesome.
Oh, that sounds great. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. We have a guest a week, normally another woman, and then every now and then we'll have a guy on as a guest, and they become honorary bitch for the month.
Okay.
Yeah, but I got to dress in drag, so.
No, you don't. That was your choice. I am making it. Everybody know it was Jay's choice. He wants to dress in drag when he comes.
Well,
it
wouldn't be
I see. All right, yeah. You don't want people to think that you compelled him to do this. Yes.
No, we didn't compel him to do this. Well, I mean, we've got Godless Engineer coming on in a couple of weeks, and he's not dressing in drag, but he actually put his hand up first to come on. He goes, "Oh, I'm definitely being an honorary bitch."
I've got GE coming on my channel the 14th, I believe.
Yeah, I think you beat us tabbing him by a week or something.
I've got GE on the 14th, and I got Shannon on the 28th.
I had both of them on way back in the start of this.
I've got the most important person ever coming on Tuesday.
Oh, who?
Is that your mom?
No, go away.
It is.
Nevermore Tavern.
Oh, that person.
Oh, I didn't know he was your mom.
No, my mom held my wood, but that's a different conversation altogether. Sorry, Richard, you have no idea. That's a private joke, and also a mug.
Yeah, I can tell.
Totally different thing altogether.
Hate to break it to you, it's not private anymore.
Well, not unless you explain it.
Yeah, it's a bit concerning when you say she's got your wood, though.
See, it's very. I could do a short version. And like I say, I bought a brand new fireplace. My girlfriend at the moment doesn't live with me. It's a massive, big, huge solid oak fireplace. And for me to take a picture of it, my mother had to hold it. I discussed this online, and people went, "So your mother held your wood," and then it sort of got out of control. Then there was the whole route of your mother took a picture of your mother holding your wood to send to your girlfriend, and it just
lame math pig.
I just want to pause for a moment to note that Flow State just lit his cigarette with a blowtorch.
I know, right? He always does that.
It's my office lighter. all the regular.
It is a lighter. It's just a large lighter. It's like
the fuck around.
Right. It's a giant lighter. It's what that is.
I go visit him so I can do that.
I would say that would probably save him, refilling. You wouldn't have to go to the shop to buy refills as often.
Not
I've
for a
got
while.
a girlfriend. She's got a purse. That's where regular size lighters go, but not this one.
I'm gonna have
if
to
you want a good Aussie accent, Notcha Witness is in the chat. He has an awesome Australian accent.
Oh, yeah?
Notcha Witness? Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Notcha's awesome.
Yeah. He's one of the first people I started interacting with when I got into the whole community thing, actually. And he had me on his show.
That for lots of people, isn't he? He's kind of ubiquitous, and yet,
yeah,
and yet a lot of people forget about him.
Oh yeah, not the witness.
Flow stayed out here with the crack pipe torch.
That would burn all that shit up way too fast.
Yeah.
Never smoked crack.
You certainly wouldn't want to use that with a bong. You don't end up melting most bongs.
Yes. No, right. That's not be the problem.
Oh, yeah. And we got the Badgers here, too. Badger, I came on your show, for fuck's sakes. He just wants to keep the running joke going.
Yeah, he says it with everyone, though. So he's kind of desperate, I think.
He needs people to come on the show. I think, Badger, you should have all of us on at the same time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, a big guest list. What you need to get Zoom up and running and have about 20 people on.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
I've done that. That is horrible to try to figure out what's going on. We did that for my 400 sub roast. I had like 15 people on at one point.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it was funny. I laughed so hard, but trying to figure out who was talking and what was going on was just horrible.
It was so much fun pulling the absolute jeebus out of Jay.
When did you start having a show? I didn't even know you had a show, Dead City. And I'm going to be on Left at the Valley pretty soon.
Yeah.
If you guys, they're another BC, like they're another local one from where I am.
I know them. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
32 slots, Math Pig. Are you going with 32 slots all at once?
I've only I have had a bottle of wine. I had my stream earlier and then an after party. Please can all leave me alone. It's quarter.
Yeah, I've watched a little bit of that with Jesus is Lord, and wow, man, I applaud you, man.
You brave motherfucker going up with that guy.
Dead City says he has one episode. It's with Angelica Darkheart.
Oh, okay. So if you want me to come on your show, hit me up, brother. I'll come on your show. But look at my schedule. I'm like, you can't really see it speak.
There you go.
Neil, just when I had you on a stream the first time and I cornered you, and I'm going to corner you again. Can you confirm the 29th of this month?
Can I confirm? Sure. It's always this month. I'm pretty sure. What are we in? April? March? We're in March, right?
It's March, yeah.
Yeah, March always has 29.
Early March. Yeah.
Is that what you want to know?
No, because I had you written down, but whenever I talk to people the first time, I like to always talk to them a second time. and then put a little tick beside their name. Because everybody's really nice the first time. They're, yeah, I'll come on your show. No bother. I'll ask Richard now. He'll tell me yes. And then a year later, it'll still be unticked. You know, it's because the man's busy. But you talk to them twice. You always talk to them twice.
All right. I'm going to put it right here in my schedule on the 29th. Okay. What time do you want me on?
29th is Sunday, so it's 3:15 Eastern Standard Time, squeezing in between Talk Heathen and the Atheist Experience.
Okay, but Eastern Standard Time, I'm on the West Coast, pal.
Well, you can convert it. I convert everything to Eastern Standard, and the American people can sort it out from then.
Yep, that's fair.
I'm in Ireland, okay? It's 8:15 for me. 8:15.
So it's noon for me, I think.
No, it couldn't be noon. It's 4:15 something for you.
Noon, yeah.
So, simple question, Richard. Does it actually matter to history at all if there was an extant Jesus or not?
No, not really.
I mean, that's my thing with it. Whether or not there was one or not, there definitely wasn't one who had magical abilities and did stuff, because that's outside of the realms of possibility.
Yeah, it's like, does it matter what year Microsoft was founded? Like, like, yes, it matters to historians who want to get facts right, but in the grand scheme of things, if you're off by a year, it doesn't really matter that much. And it's the same with this. Like, it doesn't really matter whether Jesus existed or not. But it is interesting to actually challenge and look at how did the religion begin and evolve, if you're just interested in that. So as a historian, it's interesting. I always, and I've written articles on this. I have one on my blog about, I don't think it's appropriate for atheists to use mythicism as a cudgel to attack Christianity, because you can be way more certain that if Jesus existed, he wasn't resurrected from the dead. Like, you can win that argument left and right.
Yeah.
But the existence of Jesus is a wishy-washy uncertainty, right?
Well,
so that's a weaker argument.
Figures who are like that.
Yeah, so you can't say Christianity is false because Jesus didn't exist. You're starting out of the gate with a weak argument, because you don't know that's the case. It's suspicion. There's good reason to suspect maybe there wasn't a Jesus. Whereas you can make a really solid fucking good case that no, Jesus would not rise from the dead. That your arguments for this are terrible. Like, we can sort this very strong. And that's a strong argument. And so it's easier
you can strongly argue against the virgin birth. You can strongly argue against any of the miracles.
Correct.
As well. So,
Yes. And I always advocate people argue from the stronger position. Don't stake out a weak position and then defend from there. No. If you're going to take on religion, take it on from the high ground. Like, get the strongest position and defend from there. Otherwise, they're just going to defeat they're going to like come up with their arguments against the weak position and think that they've defeated the strong position. And we know this is cognitive psychology. We know that will convince them even more that their religion is true. So don't use the weak arguments. Always go at them with the strong arguments and leave the weak arguments aside. They might be amusing and interesting, but they're amusing and interesting to us, not to them.
So is that the reason why a lot of apologists will actually attack mythicism instead of actually attacking people who are bringing up logical points against it? Yeah,
well, this happened to me, right? So I did a debate with William Lane Craig, Washburn University, audience of like 1,000 people. Well, yeah. I still want to have I want to have it professionally scored. I'm not I thought I had lost on a technical, but I might not have. But regardless, simply because the clock ran out. I ran out of time. I didn't have time to keep rebutting his points. But no, he comes right out of the gate. So I told him in advance, I said, I'm going to posit, we're just going to assume for the sake of the debate that Jesus existed. I'm going to grant that, and we'll just debate. We're only debating the resurrection of Jesus. And no, he comes right out of the gate in his opening, like, oh, he denies the existence of Jesus even. Like, what this guy's totally incredible. And I'm like, no, we agreed. We're going to posit, grant the historicity of Jesus and just argue the resurrection. But no, it's easier for them to try and make someone look ridiculous by bringing up that they doubt the historicity of Jesus. That's a well poisoning fallacy. It's a classic tactic that's not relevant to the debate, but it has emotional effect.
Yeah, and you kind of see that all the time. I mean, I mean, the debate Jay had on his channel last weekend with presuppositionalists, Darth Dawkins. It's just I find that whole argument to be one big straw man after another.
I agree.
Yeah.
And just a heads up, guys, 10 minutes till I have to take off. So
right on. Right.
So real quick follow up to the Craig question: how many times have you debated him?
Technically 2.
Is it twice? Because I've seen, going through some of the videos that they got posted of you. I thought I seen only 2, but it looked like maybe it was a different somebody.
I should warn people. I should tell you. So like the real debate, like the actual proper formal debate with debate rules and time and all that, was the Washburn debate. And if that video is still available, it's worth watching.
It is still available.
Yeah, it's a good debate. It's I felt like I lost in the sense that he made a zillion arguments, like he shotgunned me, and I had to like rebut them, and I ran out of time, and I didn't get to all his arguments. Now, also, it turns out I made a bunch of arguments that he didn't respond to, that people have pointed out to me. Like, so maybe the scoring might be different, but it doesn't matter. What I did notice is that he ran out of time himself because he was rebutting me all the way to the end of his closing statement, which is weird because normally Craig has completely annihilated his opponent. He's addressed everything, and he has free time to just evangelize, to like preach Jesus to the audience, like you should come to Christ, yada yada. He didn't in my debate, and the only reason I noticed that he didn't in my debate is that he had a ringer in the audience during Q&A who got to the mic and said, "Hey, Dr. Craig, I noticed you didn't have time to make. Normally, you make your appeal in debates at the end to come to Christ. I noticed you didn't have time to do that. Would you like to do that now?"
Oh, no way.
And I'm like, "Oh, fuck." Now, later, I realized, like, I had him on the ropes so much that he ran out of time himself. So, like, we were both pushing it to the limit on time.
Nice.
But that would make it a draw, wouldn't it?
I mean, it depends on how it scores out. So one of my girlfriends used to be a debater herself. Was on the debate circuit and stuff. And so she knows how to flow a debate and how to score it. So I just have to, like, convince her to, like, suffer 2 hours of her life scoring that debate. So I'll make that happen eventually and get a proper professional scoring of that debate. But before that happened, a lot of people don't remember, there was this network, an actual national television network called PAX, that was a Christian television network in America. And I went on, and Lee Strobel had a TV show on that called Faith Under Fire. So Lee Strobel, host of a TV show, I went on national television with Lee Strobel as host, and it was me and William Lane Craig debating the resurrection of Jesus, and we had a 15-minute segment. Now, when we recorded half an hour, I think. And they edited it down to 15 minutes. Whoever edited it for the live production was really honest. It's like it was a really fair representation of both our sides. I was really impressed with what aired live. Now, of course, that network is gone now, and they turned the original video into an instructional, like a apologetics DVD, where they put all of it in there, and they've re-edited it unfairly. So it's like,
well, they'd have to, wouldn't they?
So there's 2 versions of this original debate between me and William Lane Craig. There's the original aired version, which was fair, and then there's this sort of like DVD apologetics educational version that's not. So I don't know what people are seeing online. I don't know what's on YouTube anymore. But yes, there have been technically two debates between me and William Lane Craig on the resurrection of Jesus.
So what's he like outside of debate format? Because I've never seen him in anything but the debate format. Is he that much? Is he just as arrogant outside of debate format?
The short answer is yes. I'll just say, like, this is a conversation to not have on international video. So if you're ever hanging out with me in a pub
on my channel, it's fine.
No, the internet is forever, so I'm gonna.
That's true too. And you don't want
to. No, if you're buying me drinks at a bar sometime, you ask me that question, and I have a lot to say on that. I
like how you threw in the buying me drinks part.
Oh yeah. No, that's gotta happen.
Well, if you're ever in town here, Richard,
now, Neil, so we can get the answer to the question.
sorry. If you're ever in my neck of the woods, Richard, drinks will definitely be on me.
I would love that. And I love Vancouver, so yeah. I would love Australia too. I would love to do a tour there someday, but
if you make it the whole way to Ireland, I'll at least owe you at least 1 pint.
It's gotta be a whiskey. It's gotta be an Irish whiskey.
It'll be a pint of whiskey. It will be a pint of whiskey.
That's a lot of whiskey. That's a night's worth of whiskey.
Yeah, no kidding.
Mad Pig, that's just breakfast.
Honestly, I can't drink whiskey. The last time I drank whiskey, I had a blackout, and no.
Not good.
That'll happen.
I could do a bottle.
Did you wake up somewhere you weren't meant to be, Math Pig?
I woke up, and when we went outside, I found out that I had wrecked my mate's car completely inside. Not wrecked the car itself, but inside I had smashed every one of his CDs. I had broken glasses inside it. I'd poured drink all over it. I must have hated him before I went to bed. I do remember being locked out of the room, and then the next thing I remember is waking up in bed.
Wow. Remind me not to invite you to any of my parties.
Damn, you sound like a violent drunk. There,
yeah, that was the last night I drank whiskey. No. In saying that, that was my father's party sort of gathering before he went out to Afghanistan for 6 months. And army bases don't pay tax on drink. Like, we drank the bar dry at 11 o'clock. There was 50-year-old port. There was an awful lot of drinking. That was the last night I drank whiskey and mixed my drinks. And I thought I was very calm. I went to bed. We had a great time. I woke up the next morning. Yeah, the car was wrecked. He didn't talk to me for 3 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, it's bad, man.
It makes me think. I just recently saw Siege of Jadotville, which is this movie about this Irish. Was it the UN? I think it was the UN. There was an Irish unit that was sent to Congo to do peacekeeping, like UN peacekeeping, and they got completely surrounded by mercenaries. They were outnumbered 20-1, held them off for days, and had to surrender only because they ran out of ammo. And there's a movie about this. It's pretty impressive. An interesting war movie of an event in African history that I'd never heard of. But it was the Irish that did this. I was very impressed with the Irish unit held off, thousands of African and Belgian mercenaries.
You should see what the Boondock Saints did.
I died.
Love the Saints.
As my mother raised me, even the fucking church she sent me to was cross community. We try and do cross community. My woman's a cultural Catholic, and my wee girl's even been christened and looking forward to her. Well, my woman's looking forward to her confirmation, but I am what I am, and Neil knows that. I'm not obviously a Christian like that, but yeah, doesn't matter who you are. As long as you can have the crack, have a banter, have a smoke, and have a drink, you're all right.
I agree.
Right on.
All right, you guys, I'm gonna have to bring this one to a close.
Sounds good.
I'm all out of painkillers too, but I managed to get a cane so I could actually mobilize myself. So
yeah,
because sciatica is pretty debilitating, and I did it putting my boots on at work. I just getting ready to start my shift, moved my leg and back the wrong way, and that was it. I was fucked from that moment on, and mind you, I'm far more mobile now. I was even able to go and do my blood donation yesterday. So
yeah, but you're Canadian, so you were not bankrupted by this medical problem.
No, not at all. I mean, this cane cost me $15 for crying out loud.
That's it. Right? Yeah.
And all my prescriptions. Yeah, well, my prescriptions are usually taken care of.
Yeah.
Because Canadian Medical will pay for 80%, and then my company takes care of the rest of it. I just purchase it, give them the receipt, and they cover it all.
Right,
so
right. Good.
We got it pretty good up here. Got to say for sure. What's going on,
like
Nakasuchi?
We've got good medical. It's good.
Yeah, you do.
Yes, Australia's got good stuff. Ireland has good stuff. Yeah.
We see the thing is we're us Commonwealth countries.
We know how to look after our citizens.
Yeah. You guys ran away from England, so they were like, okay, fine, deal with your own medical shit.
I mean, there is also the aspect that they've got a lot bigger population, so universal healthcare is a lot more expensive, so a lot harder to budget.
Yeah, except we have way more billionaires than y'all. So
yeah, so effectively, if everybody was actually paying their tax, probably
right.
you'd be able to afford healthcare for everyone.
Alas, but yeah, that's what the next election's about. It's coming up.
Isn't that the way? The middle income of any country are who pay all the tax, basically, because lower income doesn't have the money to pay the tax, and higher income have the money to afford to pay big accountants to avoid paying the tax.
Correct, yeah.
So it's middle income earners who pay all the tax.
I know, it's sad.
Okay, no more tax talk. I got to get out of here.
All right.
Richard, thank you so much again for joining me today. And dude, you troopered right through the after party. That was awesome.
Good.
It was a great meeting. You, like I said earlier, you were one of the first people I started watching when I came into the community. So it was when I see Neil had you up, I'm like, oh, dude, I got to be on here.
Good, thanks. Yeah. No. I'm glad.
And Richard, we'd love to hit you up sometime to be an honorary bitch.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Neil can get you my contact info.
Yeah,
I sure awesome. Absolutely can. All right. So, all right. I got to do my notes here because I usually do a big thank you. And I know you don't use Twitter much, Richard, but I usually do it on Twitter. So
I only broadcast on Twitter. I don't ever read Twitter.
Yeah, you were saying that when I said I just covered all my grounds, right? I send them a message here, sort of thing. Yeah. So that's just generally what I do. Thank you guys for jumping into the after party with me. Everyone that was involved, like Duke and Vikram, and we had someone else in here too.
Chris.
That's right, Chris. Right, Chris. Yeah, I got to see. I can't remember everyone, so I got to write them all down and then. Thank you.
You're getting old, Neil. That's what it is.
It is, yeah. Because I remember earlier, I eventually remembered what I wanted to ask Richard, but earlier I was like, "Shit, I had a question for you," and it fell out of my head. That's why I always say, "You don't want to get old, people." Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the after party. I know these things can get a little crazy, but we always have a good time, especially when we've got some booze to help us with that. So. Richard, I will get in touch with you again because when you're ready to do some running around and chatting to a group of people, we'd love to have you up to one of our events that Richard and
for anyone who's watching, like, it never hurts to ask me. Like, the worst you're going to get is I can't do it, but otherwise I don't mind being asked, and you never know when I might have an avail or whatever. So
there you go.
I can totally take advantage of that now.
Oh man!
Sometimes I have a limited number of slots of things I can do, and everybody else have to charge. So,
what I do probably is what the same Neil does is every couple of weeks you sit down in the morning, you're like, shit, my schedule's empty, and you text or DM or Twitter or Discord like 50 people, and then you just wait for the recall. You text 50 people, there's only 30 days in the month. It's grand.
Intolerable, but okay.
Anyways, all right, guys. Thank you guys for jumping in and hanging out with Richard and I. It's always a lot of fun. And as I always say at the end of these things, guys, like the late great Christopher Hitchens once said, it's called faith because it's not knowledge. And we'll see you guys next time. If you dig the show, there are ways to help down below. We'll see you guys.
Yeah. Be water, my friend.